Hi, I'm Unique Model, aka Shantae Renee P for Positivity, and this is a channel for love and for healing. I want you to know that love begins with you, and it absolutely does. Be the love you want to see manifest in your life, and it will come. So this is a video about father traumas related to me, and hopefully whoever needs to hear this will hear it. I have suffered from fatherhood traumas because my father was not there. He was in the house with us for a little while. We were in the house with him until things happened and transpired where my parents got divorced when I was around 9 years old, and we had to move, and he made it so. So I've seen things and experienced things that a lot of girls that have experienced, as children, but those ones that did not experience the things that I experienced with my father, kudos to you, and you should consider yourself very blessed, because in my opinion, and as I've seen, your father is supposed to be the first man that is supposed to show you love and to show you how you are supposed to be treated. So in my case, my father was not emotional. He was not caring. He was not giving. I don't even remember really talking to him as a child. I don't remember ever sitting down to the table eating dinner with him or anything like that. I don't remember going places with him. I don't remember doing any of that. So more than likely it did not happen. Even as far as say when my parents were together and we had moved into the house that he's currently in, I don't even remember having like a family sit down dinner. I don't remember having any of those things. But the things that I do remember were basically all negative, which is sad in itself. My father, I suffered, from my father, from abandonment issues, rejection issues, emotional neglect. So I had all of those traumas and still actually are, still working through those things. One of the first things that I remember my father doing was when my parents were getting divorced, he put me out of my room and I had to go bunk with my brother. And I'm like, well, why did I have to be the one to move? I'm the oldest. How come, you couldn't have took my brother's room? But of course, my brother had bunk beds. I had a single bed. So, I was put out of my room and I ended up having to bunk with my brother. But my dad made the house basically unlivable, for kids. So I was about 7 or 8. So my brother was 2 years younger than me. So he was about 5 or 6. So he made the house unlivable. I remember one time he actually disconnected the electricity, the heat during the winter. So my mom ended up getting like kerosene heaters. And I'm 46, by the way. So, it was a long time ago. But, some of these things I have been, in the past few years, I've kind of revisited or was like re-traumatized with these things. Because I'll get to that, at a later time. But he made the house basically unlivable. He did stuff to the stove so that my mom couldn't cook for us. To the point where my mom actually just left. She didn't want to she couldn't take it anymore. I mean, I seen fights where my dad would change locks and wouldn't let us in. And I've seen, bricks thrown through windows, windshields smashed. it was a lot to see, and all of this happened like under 9. And sometimes people be like, why you act the way you act? Like the things that I've seen. And then further growing up, we ended up moving in with my grandmother, who literally lives on the same block. Literally same block around the corner. So he was still in the vicinity of, where me and my brother were. But my brother was more accepted than I was. And I couldn't understand, why are you accepting him, but you're not accepting me? For whatever his reasons are, I do not know. So much to the point where, as I was growing up and I was a teenager and I needed things, and I would go talk to him or ask him for things, and it was always, well, I give your mom child support. I'm not doing nothing extra. Never spent time, never did any of those things. So I, to this day, and I'm just coming to the realization, Dad and Daddy don't even roll off my tongue, because I never had to use those words as a child, which is crazy when, a lot of people, I know some people don't, but they do have someone that they could call that. So this may be wrong, but in my mind, I've made it up. I'm just going to call him by his first name at this point, because that's who he is to me. You are a person that helped create me, but you were not the person that I needed as a child. And still to this day, we still don't have a relationship, because of, when it's actually been in the past few months, I needed something. And he went so far to tell me, well, why don't you ask your people? I'm like, you are my people. So it's like, you don't consider yourself a part of my family, a part of me. It is what it is at this point. It's like, that's when you have to just let people be what they're going to be and who they're going to be. Because I done got to a point, if you're not in my life to help me heal or to help me become better, then there's no point for me to interact with you anymore. So that's where I am with him. And as when I came back home and I tried to interact with him, because I still tried to heal things, and I actually stayed with him for a little while until he put me out. And it wasn't that I was doing anything, is our energy, I had started awakening, and our energies were just not conducive. But at that time, it was just like, oh, damn, I'm being rejected again. I'm being abandoned again. Those, that was a few years ago. And even after that, I still tried. But it was never reciprocated. So, as I'm still walking this journey, as I'm still healing that, the lesson is still coming back around through other people. Most recently, it came through my son, and he said some of the same words to me, and I was kind of like triggered by it. But it didn't take me as long to get over it, and I'm looking at things from a higher perspective. At this point, it's like, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Because the same lessons will come around through different people, through different scenarios. And once you are able to recognize it as that, it's just another layer that needs to be healed for you. So I also have experienced where guys are not treating me right, but it was partly because of my wound. And, the energy that I was giving off, like where I was being ignored or not taken seriously, or, feeling like I was being used. But those things were happening so I could recognize what is in me that is actually attracting these things. So this last person that I attracted, he actually treated me like a princess, which is crazy, because I hadn't had that in a while. Like, he literally was catering to me. To the point it was like, okay, I'm hungry. He's like, what you want to eat? And then he would go cook it. Opening doors, doing all of that. And, you know, I wasn't used to that. And initially, I'm like, I don't want you opening my door. I don't want you doing, you know, X, Y, and Z. But I'm like, bitch, just accept it. You know, somebody wants to do something nice, and this makes them feel good about themselves to do this for you. So I learned how to accept it to the point where I would forget. I open up the car door, and then I see him walking. I'm like, shoot, let me close the door so he can open it. Because that was just something that he wanted to do. Even though sometimes I was like, I can open up my own door. But that's because of the wounds that I had, and I did not have someone that would do those types of things for me when I was younger. I became very independent and wanted to do things my way all the time. But that was from a trauma that was created in childhood through my father, but also it's something that's generational, that has happened in, you know, in the families, well, in my family and in other people's families. But I was guided to do this video just to open up a little bit more about my journey. And, you know, I'm still healing. You know, they say healing is never complete. Look, even time, you know, when we reincarnate, you still got more lessons. We're still healing things. But I'm still learning not to force situations, because that was a deep trauma for me. And it's like I would try to still overgive, thinking that it would make me more accepted, but it doesn't, and it hasn't. It doesn't make you more accepted. But so I had to start accepting things within myself. And I was in a group meeting last night, and someone said they became, you know, they learned that they excuse me, had to learn how to become their mother and their father. So, you know, those wounds would, you know, heal, and they wouldn't like reach out to others for those things, because sometimes there's no one there. But in the same token, in order for some things to heal, the opposite has to happen. So the person that, you know, I was dealing with in the recent past, they showed me such love and compassion that it was a little difficult for me to accept it, because I'm like, I'm not used to this. Even, you know, when I was married, I was married for 23 years, separated for like the last 2 to 3 years. So I didn't get that in my marriage. I was the caregiver and XYZ. And of course we had our issues. It wasn't, you know, just my ex-husband that did things to make the marriage dissolve. But I came to realize after starting my spiritual journey that my ex-husband displayed a lot of the qualities of my father. And I just didn't realize it at the time. But now I can look back and see, this is why this person was put in my life, so that I could recognize the trauma that I experienced, so I could heal it. So let me see, the person before that, well, the main person before that, actually did show me a lot of kindness, and like we can still talk to this day. I actually do have a child by him, and I have children by my ex-husband. So that person before my first love, he showed me kindness. We did things together. And I kind of clung to him because I hadn't been shown those type of things as a young girl that was supposed to come from the father. So when I got with the ex-husband, it was like, okay, it was okay in the beginning, but then I noticed, you know, things, and I'm like, I don't, you know, some things I don't like this, but because of security purposes, it was just like, I'm just gonna stay in it. And, you know, eventually the universe was like, nope, it's time to shut this shit down. And that's what happened. It went all the way down, which I am grateful for, and I'm grateful for the lessons, because I wouldn't have recognized a lot of things. Just like I had to come home to recognize a lot of things. Sometimes you do have to go back, and I probably will do a video about that, to recognize things about healing. But yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit about traumas, the things that I've gone through, and this is part of the reason why I'm doing the things that I'm doing and why I talk about certain things, because these are things that people don't talk about. They don't realize that these are the reasons why people act the way that they do. So this is a channel for love and for healing, but do I know everything about healing? No, I do not. But I wanted to try to create a safe space so that we can like open up a dialogue about things and the things that we go through, and you know, I can point you in the right direction to possibly getting some, you know, some type of help, because sometimes you do need therapy for these things. And I've been in therapy, Lord knows. I just didn't know when I was in therapy what I actually needed therapy for and what things actually stemmed from. But I believe that is it for this message. Sending you love and healing. I appreciate you. Make sure you appreciate yourself, and remember, happiness is homemade. Feed yourself some good shit, mind, body, and spirit. Have a wonderful day. Bye.